As you can see, it's quite pixelated. It's a bit green. And we use two cameras for this. That might be enough for that. That's a break in between, actually, a rehearsal and the actual thing. So, what was the learning from this experience? What we found was that sound was a key issue, as well as vision for some. And what we found was that people who had good quality speakers could bump up the sound. Some people who were watching on their own put some headphones on and had a better experience. And people with older hardware struggled more so with the whole experience. Another interesting thing that we found was that depending on people's previous exposure to webcasts, affected their level of enjoyment. So people who were more accustomed to seeing things were more forgiving, more adaptable. Maybe it was closer to what they expected. Whereas for the novices who had maybe just gone on having seen the flyer, they expected a high quality finished article. Which takes me on to the next point, which is about managing expectation accurately. And of course, this is difficult when we're working in a medium that's new to us. It may be out of our control. It's with the technological specialists. So how do we manage that? And in hindsight, it was a first for us. It was very much an experiment. It was to R&D. And in hindsight, I think having a stamp of an experiment, on the flyer, if we were using that flyer, would have just managed those expectations for those that were expecting it to be something else. However, we only managed to put off 6% of people. 78% said they'd still come back and watch an online webcast, which is positive. So again this year there was an opportunity to work together for the co-producers on Benna, and we jumped at the chance because it's been such a joy to work on, where the three different producers work to their unique strengths. This time there was a fourth partner, as in the public, in West Bromwich, that Sean talked about in our presentation earlier, and you saw some pictures of it in terms of it being an interactive gallery. So what we had for Benna 2011, we wanted to ensure that the lessons from the previous time were taken on board, and we worked with a different company called Aquila TV, and to ensure we got a better signal, we got a satellite van in this time, and it was a bit more expensive, but we wanted to ensure and learn from the previous time. It's the portal, the homepage. We also developed a portal. Last time it was all done on our own website, and we had various pages of Benna blogs and galleries through that. This time it had its own dedicated portal, which the web page is open. Where And so what we had this time, it had its own portal, and we had various bits of content on there. And this time we did bring someone else in to look after this. This was done by Aquila TV, and we also worked with Christian Payne of Documentally fame, for some of you who may know him, and who's described as a social technologist, a mobile media maker, a vlogger, a blogger, a photographer. And he produced all sorts of nice little packages where he went into the house, met with the actors, and he interviewed them in character as well as themselves. He watched a performance, interacted with the audience, and put together all sorts of content. And the point was to drip feed this in the run-up to the webcast to stimulate, generate interest. We also had the characters blogging, informed by the writer. So the writer was writing the characters, blogging in anticipation of the narrative in the play. So it was a week or two before they were working up to the idea of the play. For the actual webcast, we had a smaller audience. We invited an audience of about 10, so it was an invited audience to give us more control and flexibility. The previous time, as you know, we'd made it very hard for ourselves by working in a house the actors didn't really know, and also working with a room full of 25 people as an audience. And this kitchen is a much tighter kitchen, and this was the rented house this time. So how did it go? Well, the technical issues were addressed, the signal was faultless, and the company we used the previous time, it was an experiment, more of an experiment for all parties, whereas this time this company are developing a strand of activity, of business, called Event for Us. So they're used to doing conferencing, webcasts, etc. So it ran very smoothly. The other difference was we programmed mid-week this time. The previous time we'd programmed on a Saturday, and that was advantageous based on the feedback we got. So we had about 481 computers that logged on, and that's estimated in terms of those people that were watching in twos or threes to about just over 700. But we had an increase from about 5 countries to 16, which was interesting for us. And I think we can show the other clip.
Asians, what does this Asian say? Lumping us all together like cows in the field. We are Indians. Chappies. We are sick. Ole!
Quite a significant difference there between the two times that we did do it, and it was they both threw at new challenges in different ways. But like Catherine said earlier, you know, I'm no tech head, and technology doesn't necessarily come naturally, I would say, to me, and just stepping out and having a go has been very positive for us. This is the audience leaving, so the webcast audience, so they did leave. So just some considerations based on our experience of having done this twice is some of the things that are worth thinking about is, and the first one is to ensure that the content, the product is right for a webcast. What we had with Benna was a very intimate play, something quite domestic. It lent itself to this way of working, allowed plenty of time to set up, test and play. There was not enough time the first time, I would say, for us to do that. And the second time round, the company that we brought on board didn't actually think we needed to play. They didn't need to play around more. So that worked out. And of course, I've mentioned managing expectation more accurately. The first time round, we had some training in video and skills development around editing and shooting. And whilst that hasn't made us into digital experts, and we're not making videos ourselves, we do know more of the language when we're talking about commissioning work, and communicating with others, as well as buying in expertise. Why reduce one's organisational capacity when there's people out there who can do it and who are expert at it? And another one is talking about contracts early on and negotiating what it is you're doing and what's expected of actors, the writer. For the first webcast, we were trying to get a life for it of 3 months. That got reduced to 1 month. That got reduced to a week, to a day, and then in the end, the actors' agents got very twitchy, and it was decided it would only be live, and that would be it. It wouldn't be available for people to watch in different time zones or anything. Whereas the second time round we managed to get it live immediately, a recording of it after the live event, for 24 hours afterwards. And just a final note, which is to say that it's something we know, that the online environment really lends itself for us to think about how we engage with our existing as well as new audiences outside of the rehearsal space. And what sort of hooks can we create for them to take part in things, for them to inform our practice, for us to co-create, as Catherine described earlier very well. And that's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.